Oh, yeah. So back in the day, I was DJ Web Slinger. I've told you guys that, right? Raves in Columbus, Ohio, back in the early 90s. And whenever it was my turn to DJ, I would crank this thing and the floor would go bonkers. It's Bajork. Big Time Sensuality, the Fluke Magimix. They pumped the BPMs up and this song just fucking kicked. I mean, another workout track for me right here. Where did music go wrong? What happened to music? Why does it suck now? And why was it so much better in the 80s and the 90s? Says the Gen Xer who's disenfranchised. Welcome to MMT, the Sunday Evening Spectacular. Going to be a fun show tonight, guys, because we have a big-time guest, and this guest is ready to go. This guest has seen virtually every film that's going to contend for Oscars 2025, which is quite the accomplishment because it's only September. But as you guys know, from here until the end of the year, it is time to discuss Oscars because we're going to be in the thick of it as we get film after film after film. And here we go, live from the City of Angels. It's time for the Oscars 2025 Kickoff Show. We're going to talk about the films that will have the biggest impact in the race for Best Picture, some performance films as well, because it's not always about picture director. Sometimes some films come in that aren't strong enough for that, but the performances are. We see that quite often. We'll talk about that in a moment. In fact, let's get to it right now with our special guest, who I alluded to moments ago, who's seen all of these films. Well, I mean, most. We're going to find out the films he's seen, but I'll tell you what, the films he's seen is greatly outnumber the ones he has not. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are welcomed by Scott Menzel, HCA founder, live here tonight on this Sunday night. And Scott just got back from, first you went to Venice, right? Correct. And then you went to Rome and traveled around. He's just, going everywhere. And then he goes to TIFF in Toronto. So you've sat through two huge film festivals and you've seen a ton of these films. I mean, how many are left for you? Have you counted the films you still have to see? I think
there's about 10 to 12 movies I have left that I think are going to be part of the conversation. Yeah.
I've got like 35, right? How many did you knock out before I get into these films? How many films?
I got about 30 out of the way.
Oh my God. But here's the good news, and this is why I have Scott on here tonight. We don't always agree. You guys know we've done shows where the two of us just go at each other going, you're totally wrong. What are you doing? But in general, I think he's got a good sense of what's going to work and what's not going to work when it comes to the awards landscape, because ultimately these voters are going to decide what is considered an awards film and what is not. And it's not always a film Twitter film, right? So I think that's important to note. You have to have a little bit more of a mainstream accessibility when you watch these things often. And I think when you couple that with that cinephile side, then you get the perfect lens to view these films through and figure out what film is going to be a big time pretender or a big time contender, because that's the question, right? What films are going to be for real and what are not? Let's start with the big news from today, Scott. We talk about The Life of Chuck winning TIFF's People's Choice Award. Now, I know about this film, Mike Flanagan, correct? Did he direct this or just write this?
No, he directed it.
Okay, so this film, what's weird about this film, and I'm going to talk about your thoughts on it here, but I think the number one takeaway is this is very rare for a film to win the People's Choice Award at TIFF, which a lot of films, when they win that, you're virtually guaranteed a Best Picture nomination. So the question becomes, how come no one's picked this film up? Do you have any idea? It does not have a distributor. That's very weird.
Well, my initial thoughts on this was that Netflix would pick this up. And
why? Why do you say that?
Because they have given him a lot of success with a lot of their shows.
Mhm.
So he did The Haunting of Hill House.
Right.
There was one that just came out. I can't remember the name of it, but he's had like 3 or 4 shows with Netflix that have all.
Scott watches television shows. I only watch movies. That's why I have to ask these questions. Like, wait, didn't Warner Brothers did Dr. Sleep? So you see, this is how my brain, that relationship's there. Not to mention, Netflix has unlimited funds, essentially.
Well, yeah, if you're looking at all the streaming numbers right now, right? They're the only ones who are like above and beyond doing better than anyone. And I mean, their stock is actually higher now than it was during the pandemic. Which is wild.
Because, we trash Netflix all the time. By the way, Scott does not endorse anything that comes out of this microphone. Let's make that clear. But here's the thing is, Scott knows, everybody knows, that I hammer Netflix 24/7 because they have no real commitment to theatrical, right? It doesn't count. They have Egyptian here in Los Angeles and some sporadic, here's an indie theater here and there. You have to drive 45 minutes away if you're lucky to even have it that close to you. So, of course, I'm not a huge Netflix fan because this whole thing started, this channel's founded on theatrical movies. That's it. So let me ask you about the film, Life of Chuck. Walk me through just essentially what it's about, because I don't know much about it. I know Hiddleston's in it, right? But what's it about? And is it accessible? Because I'm a little shocked by this. I heard all these other films in here at TIFF, Saturday Night, Anora, all these films, and I'm like, what? Life of Chuck. So are you surprised that this film won?
No, not at all. Because it's unlike a lot of these awards that I feel like are very much like driven almost by critical response.
Mm-hmm.
The TIFF Choice Award is, if you look through the history, they're generally feel-good movies. Like, they're movies that make you feel good.
Jojo Rabbit, right? What else?
American Fiction, Green Book.
Yeah.
They're movies that are, like, enjoyable, but sort of have that awards potential.
Right.
And that's the thing what's interesting about this film is that the audience, I went to the premiere of this, and the audience, like, literally gave the movie a standing ovation, which happens from time to time at TIFF. It's not like Venice with the ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. 12 minutes for this, 3 minutes for this.
You had to sit through that. We'll talk about it in a minute because we're going to talk about Joker 2. But that's the thing is, over there, everyone stands and applauds. I was talking about, what film was it? I got into it with some, random person on film Twitter. They didn't understand that every single film at Venice gets a standing ovation. I think it was actually the Kevin Costner thing, right? That part 2 of the film I'm never going to watch, right? Horizon. I'm not. But it's like they didn't understand that every film gets like 10 minutes, and that film got like 3. So that tells you how bad the film is. You can't even get to like 5 minutes of a standing ovation. But at TIFF, it's not like that, right? So if they do that, that they really like it. It's not bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the crowds eat certain movies up more than others. And that's what I actually like about TIFF as a festival overall. It was also very weird. Like, I feel like Venice this year, I've never been there before. This was my first time, and I didn't really focus that heavily on it. But normally, it seems like the lineup is pretty serious all the way through. Where TIFF, what I love about it is there's like such a wide mix of films. So you can go into a drama, and then you can go into a comedy, and then you can go into a horror movie, and then you can go into a documentary. Where a lot of movies, I feel like let's use, I guess Cannes is a really good example, right? Mm-hmm. Most movies at Cannes are like serious drama. Right. Like, it's just like weird, drama.
Right. And some weird things. I mean, that's what Anne likes that. And Venice too, a little, right? Venice as well.
Yeah, this was a weird year for that. I mean, to open up with, I know you didn't like it.
Which?
Open up with Beetlejuice.
Oh!
Was such a weird thing for a film festival to play.
Right.
I get why, obviously, seeing the film. It was very weird because every movie that I saw at Venice had some tie-in to Italy somewhere in the movie. So I felt like that was the tie-in with all the movies. Like, they all had a little bit of
Listen, I know you're a bigger fan of Beetlejuice. We're not going to get into that. That's a whole nother stream. But you're right. I mean, I think you're seeing some of these studios, though, use this as a launching pad for a film that's maybe, obviously, Beetlejuice, not an awards film. But you look back to Horizon. at Cannes, right? Wasn't it at Cannes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a fraud that is? That film is horrible. I mean, the fact that played Cannes, I can't believe they had said okay. I mean, if I would have seen that and I was the festival director, get that shit out of here. We're not having a Razzies festival. Get it out. So I think that you're seeing some studios use that to their advantage, maybe, and I hope that they kind of cut back on that. Again, I know you like Beetlejuice more, but I feel like we need to really put these things through the test before we just say, hey, it's part of Cannes. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right?
Yeah. So you want to know the truth of why this probably didn't get picked up? It's probably money. A lot of things that no one's talking about right now is outside of Netflix. A lot of the bigger studios and networks are struggling financially.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad. I talked to someone at a company that you would think would have a ton of money today, basically asking them if they were going to pick up this film, and their response was, "We have no money."
And they're trying to sell. Listen, when it wins this, right? So let's just say this film was without sans People's Choice Award. Yeah. This film might sell for, I don't know, what do you say, 5 to 10? Let's say Mac. Now we're pushing it to 15, 20, maybe even more, because they can go with look at every film that's won and then gets a Best Picture. So essentially, you're buying a nomination here, right?
Pretty much. And I think what's also interesting about this, not to switch topics, but I think it's a very interesting conversation. A movie like The Brutalist, which we'll
talk about, right? Go ahead.
We'll talk about in great length.
Yep.
But like that got picked up by A24. And if you remember, even though the reviews were raving out of Venice, I mean, they were rave reviews.
Oh, yeah.
It was trending almost for an entire day on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's film Twitter, but yeah.
But I'm just saying, normally, like if you follow the festivals this year, I felt like everything had a very short life expectancy.
Well, that speaks to the power of the film. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I feel like everything sort of just, trended for like about few hours, and then it disappeared. But Brutalist was there for the entire day, and then when TIFF happened, it also like came back for an entire day. But think about that. A24 came in, which A24, let's be honest, doesn't usually throw a lot of money behind buying movies. They're
they come up with their own, right?
Fortune, right.
Yeah. Or they pick it up for cheap. Yeah, exactly.
They pick it up for cheap. So what does that tell you? That in that moment, Apple didn't pick it up, or Amazon didn't pick it up. That speaks volumes, and I think that's the same thing we're looking at, kind of with A Life of Chuck, is that it's probably going to end up in a very different distribution model than we were thinking. Because, like, I would also say, like, maybe Universal should pick it up, right? Mm-hmm. Or, like you said, Warner Brothers, but they're all struggling. I mean, look at how much money Warner Brothers lost with Horizon. Look at how much money they lost with Furiosa. These movies,
they shouldn't have.
But they lost so much money.
No, I know. It's not been... It's a risk. And I think The Brutalist, and we'll get to that in a minute because I want to get to Joker, but I just want to listen. The Brutalist is 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
You talk about inaccessible. That's not a film that's going to do shit at the box office. Okay. And listen, I might love the film. I know you like it. I'm sure I will, because I'm one of the few people that defended Vox Lux. So I don't mind. And I can sit through a 3.5 hour movie.
Oh, it's nothing like Vox Lux. Everyone keeps mentioning this.
No, I know. I'm just mentioning this before. Totally. I know. I get it. But I'm saying as a filmmaker, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing his next film. Even if he didn't have the raves, I'd still want to see what Brady had next. So here's the thing, though, is that it's not accessible at that runtime, it's not accessible. So you're not going to pay a lot for that. No. Conversely, when we talk about, let's just do this. I'm going to do Joker in a second, but I want to bring up a film that is slightly more accessible.
No, Life of Chuck. No, it's funny you mentioned this.
It
because
is?
Life of Chuck is very accessible.
Then I'm surprised it hasn't.
It has a lot of listen, it has Mark Hamill in it. It has Tom Hiddleston in it. Chiwetel Ejiofor is in it. There's a lot of good people in it. Karen Gillian's in it. A lot of pretty well-known actors. It's a crowd pleaser. It has, it's about life and, living life to the fullest. And
I probably would like this. Just how you're describing it, I want to see it.
It's done, and it's done in reverse. Okay. So it's actually like Act 3, then 2, then 1. So it's very interesting the way that it's told. There is a great scene with Tom Hiddleston is actually only in the movie for about 10 minutes, and his whole thing pretty much is him dancing, which is a great moment. I mean, the crowd went nuts during this moment.
But it's important, you know what, as you say that, it's important to see these films with the crowd. And I saw a film tonight. We're going to talk about Am I Racist coming up after Scott, because I saw it. He hasn't yet. I told him to see it. So obviously I recommend the film, but I'm going to tell you why coming up. And by the way, it doesn't make, oh my God, Weber, you said go see Am I Racist. We'll talk about it. Just give me a sec. But you're right. When you see it with the crowd, you get the reaction, not just yours, but you can hear how other people do. And then you can kind of gauge, I think, and to hear that people like this film, that's certainly a positive. I think then we quickly turn the conversation to Joker Folie, Deux, a film that was buried by a lot of people. And let's just say the truth. You were one of the few people who came out. You called it a masterpiece, okay? You know how I feel about using that word, but I'm just saying.
I literally have a whole thing in my thing about I hate using that word.
I know that. I get it. Okay, but that doesn't mean you don't think that. So I guess what I'm asking you is, why is there this big disconnect on Joker 2? Why do some people like you say it's a masterpiece or a very, very good film, a great follow-up to what I consider to be a strong film in Joker? Forget about Taxi Driver, King of Comedy. I don't want to hear that. We're not doing that. But it still is a strong film on its own merits. And I think that that's the question. Why is there this massive chasm between, oh, it's fantastic and, well, it really was underwhelming? Can you answer that?
Because I think people went in expecting the same. Certain people went in expecting the same movie as the first one, and it couldn't be any more different than the first one.
But that's not a bad thing. You know, I don't want to see the same thing. Don't you want to have something that challenges, something that's different, something that's interesting, new take on the material? And it sounds like that's what this is. Is it a musical? Can I just ask you that? Is it?
I mean, it is, but like not in a traditional sense. Like I heard a lot of people calling it like jukebox musical, which like it's not like that at all. I mean, a jukebox musical is like Rocket Man.
Mm-hmm.
This is not.
Oh,
this 100%. Is not Rocket. This is not Rocket
100%.
Man. So I don't know why people are saying that. It's very confusing to me. And a lot of the musical numbers are sort of there to kind of play with the whole like mental illness. Is this person really happening in the moment, or is this just like in their heads? And I thought that was a really interesting way of handling the music, because it starts with like one of the security guards kind of like being into music, and he enrolls Arthur into one of these. There's a music program at the jail, and that's where he meets Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn, and all the moments between them are all kind of almost like dream sequences or in their minds. And I thought it was just like a really interesting way to kind of play with the music.
So if you were, okay, so tonight we are on September the 15th, everybody who's watching the stream down the road. So we're very early in this whole thing, okay? But if you had to place $1 million bet, you had to put the $1 million either on Best Picture nomination and director nomination. You can tell me where are you going to put the money on that? Are you going to go with picture director? Are you going to go with picture not director? Are you going to go with director not picture, which would be unheard of? So what do you think? What would you do with that $1 million? Where would you put the bet on Joker 2?
Oh, I mean,
put you on the spot.
I don't. Well, no, I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, if I'm like,
you have to bet it. You have to bet it.
Well,
you have no choice.
I couldn't put. I mean, I wouldn't put half these movies in
no, but I'm saying if I gave you $1 million, I said you have to put it. So I'm making you put it. You have to go all in on what happens with Joker 2. Does it get a picture, director, just a picture? What do you got? Or does it get nothing?
It's too hard to say because they didn't screen it enough yet.
So you're going to wait for other people. Scott, don't do that. You don't need...
No, because you're asking me to vote. You're asking me to base it off of like a number of people seeing this movie.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the audience that we went to was like, okay, this was shown to critics in 2 screenings. It was obviously shown to a select group of people here in LA, right? The people who they knew were not going to say anything bad.
Yep. Of course, it's always like that. Good point. Always like that.
We saw that. Like,
Yep.
and I can't help but be a little upset when I see stuff like that, because I'm flying all the way across the world to see this movie.
Yep.
And then some random person who they like, they're like, you know what?
Of course.
You want to see this movie the same time as everybody else is seeing it in Venice and flying. You know, I get screening it early for those who are going to an event to kind of get them to write the reviews.
Yeah, it's a nightmare to get in there. Yeah, and also a nightmare to get a seat.
The thing is, it's just there is this weird thing of like, why are you screening this for people who are not going to this event? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because you know why. I'm going to say this.
Well, I know.
You know why? Because
they're
guaranteed a positive spin. Guaranteed. We talk about that with the Disney premieres all the time. If you go to a Disney premiere, you better not come out of that and destroy the film. I mean, look what happened with me when I went to go see the god-awful Gray Man when Netflix invited me. And, right, remember, I came out of that thing and I absolutely streamed still up on the MMT channel. I nuked that channel. I buried that film. It's horrible. And then Netflix was like, that's it. That was the beginning of the end. And then I said, fine, this is perfect because I don't want to deal with you anymore because you don't even have theatrical. But see, I'm a wild card. There's people out there, and you know this, Scott, that are not wild cards. They will come in and say, well, I get to see it early, so I will accentuate the positives. That's part of the problem that we have in Hollywood. You don't need to address that. I'm just going to, listen, I'm going to commentate here. But back to Joker, and you're right. They needed it. But
people wanted to. I mean, listen, we're going to say this, and you said this on. You're going to say
I
that
said it
online.
You said it.
There are, and we texted about this. There is 100%. There are people who are going into this movie automatically to hate it, just because of the whole Joaquin Phoenix thing. It's there. They know it. I think even Warner Brothers knows it. It's really, really sad that that's the case here. But I also think that there's this weird, like, just like with the first one, I think there's this like love-hate relationship. I don't know why this movie has, this first one and the second one sort of has been these movies that have sparked such either like a love-hate relationship with viewers. And it's like, but I feel like the hate stuff, like some people are like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Listen,
like,
here's the thing.
How have you not seen other movies that are worse than this?
Scott, here's the thing, and you know this. I love it when they show their cards. I absolutely am like cheering the loudest when you have critics coming out of Deadpool Wolverine, and you liked it. You didn't. I loved the film, and look what happened. I told you audiences would love that film. That's the thing. These critics, they don't connect with anybody. They don't speak for anybody except for the circle jerk of chin stroking film Twitter dweebs. And guess what? No, that's not who I want to resonate with. I want to resonate with the average person, and then sometimes dip into a weird film, a film that's not accessible, and try to get you to access that film. A lot of these critics don't think like that. They're like, well, I'm a pretentious bitch. And by the way, Scott's not saying this, I am. And therefore, I don't like it. And by the way, if you like it, you're dumb. Like, listen, people are probably going to love Joker 2. I guarantee you, wait until we get to the audience reactions. Certainly the Gaga fans are going to go nuts over it. And then you look at the average person, I guarantee they're going to like this film more than the average critic from IndieWire. Okay? Yeah. So remember, these critics that work for IndieWire, one of the most overrated film critics on planet Earth, David Elric. My God, that guy crowdsourced a new laptop. How pathetic can you be, David Elric? Sorry, Scott, you're not part of this. I have to do this. David Elric, you're a pathetic bitch for doing a crowdsource my laptop. What a loser. What a loser. And Scott is not saying this. I'm saying it. But he's the same guy who was like, it's boring. And you guys listen to that guy like he's some kind of god. It's embarrassing. Scott, sorry.
No.
You knew that was coming,
Scott.
You knew it was coming, but you know, just to your point about the whole Joaquin Phoenix leaves the Todd Haynes movie. Well, he's an awful human being, and how dare he destroy? Listen, I've talked about this before, and you understand this. You have to protect yourself, and I'm not saying what he did was right or wrong, but ultimately you have to answer to yourself. And if you're in a position where you aren't comfortable with that, then unfortunately you have to disappoint some people. But you don't carry that into the movie, Scott. You don't carry it into the movie.
Well, no, I mean, you even saw it like at the press conference. Somebody asked them about it. I mean, it's just like, it's embarrassing. Like, this is what we've become. It's just like, it's like everyone's out there to get a clickbait or a response on something. I don't know. I just don't get it. But I mean,
well,
listen,
can you imagine? Hold on. Can I just pause you there? Because that's really interesting. Can you imagine doing that? People accuse me of that. And I think maybe even like, oh, look, you wanted to say this because, first of all, have you ever made any money from one of your tweets that has 500,000 impressions? Have you banked cash? Do you go to the Wells Fargo ATM and start depositing? These people don't understand. I don't know anybody. Why would you ever do that? I've never done that with ever. I mean, you've had Scott's been on billboards. I give him shit. Go back to Bombshell. And when Bombshell was playing here in LA back in 2019, I really like Bombshell. And I remember going down to the ArcLight when it was still open, and I looked up and there was a billboard of Bombshell, and it said like, what a movie, whatever the quote was, fun as hell, which it was. And at the bottom, it just said Scott Menzel. And I was just like, oh my God, didn't even say a publication. I go, man, look at this guy. But that didn't pay your rent. So I don't understand why people think that that's what we do. There probably are people who do that, which is pathetic, but I certainly have never done that. I don't think why would you do that? You're making money from that.
I think the better question is, and this is something that I've been like, really kind of thinking about a lot over the last couple of months, is that what is the point of saying like that you really like something if deep down you don't, just to get pull quoted for something? I don't get that, because like if you want to, and I mean, it's funny because like, we've all been kind of guilty of coming out, myself included, coming out of certain movies and, in the moment sort of feeling a vibe, or like it was like the type of movie you needed right then. And then you go back and you watch it and you're kind of like, that wasn't as great as I thought it was.
Can I pause you just first? I'm going to have to pause you and I have to ask you. So you're talking about The Whale, right?
Am I talking about The Whale? Well, you know, I didn't like The Whale as much the second time around.
Well, God, thank God.
You know that. But I did not. I seen The Whale 4 times.
Oh, wow. You are a sadist.
But I still like The Whale more than you. Way more than you.
I know.
And I still think it's a very good movie.
Okay,
and
fine.
You'll never get me to say, I mean, besides your complaints about like the way Coda's edited together or shot, like that movie is still the greatest, like one of my favorite movies.
Listen, that's fine. I don't want you to change. That would be pathetic. Be like, no, I've changed my mind. No.
But like, there's been certain things. Like I'll tell you, like one of the Terminator movies I was quoted on. I was like,
the last one wasn't good. Was it that one?
I don't know if it was the last one. I don't remember which one it was. There's too many of the damn movies. But there was one of them that, like, in the moment, like compared to the other ones, I was like, it was a really good movie. But you have those moments. But the question that I always have, like, when I found myself, the weird thing about coming out of festivals is that less and less there is such a thing as a masterpiece, a perfect movie, and whatnot. And I think it was Dark Fate. Actually, thank you, Louis. I think that's
that the last one? The last one was not good. The last one was not good. I remember seeing that over at Universal. Going,
it had Mackenzie Davis in it.
I think that was the last one. Oh, it was bad. Or is it Salvation? I don't know. I don't ever want to see another Terminator movie in my life. It's terrible. I'm so over those. Just here's a regurgitation of another version of the same film. Get something new, right? That's all I want.
Here's the quote. I literally.
Oh God, he found it. He found his quote.
It was the Terminator movie we've been waiting for.
That's such a generic quote. I see those. I'm going to hammer you for that. That's so funny because there's so many of those. Every movie, there's one of those. I remember the Spielberg. Remember the Fablemans, and someone was like, "This is the movie we've been waiting forever to Spielberg to make." I'm like, "What? His life story doesn't mean it's good. It's terrible." Oh my God, Fableman! Didn't Fablemans win best? Didn't it win the audience, the People's Choice? That movie's bad.
You might be right. That
movie's bad. You all see Fableman? This is terrible. It's not even well edited. It's like a goofy. He's got his monkey in the movie and shit. It's terrible. I was sitting there. Can I tell you, of all the disconnects, we've had a lot of them, right? Where you read these early reactions and then you actually see it. And Universal invited us a few weeks after it debuted. I think it's Toronto, right? And they had it here, and I was over at Universal, and I'm like, here comes the Fablemans. It's Spielberg's his life story. What the fuck? This is terrible. This is the worst Spielberg film of all. It's not even a contest. You all saying this is the film we've been waiting an entire life for him to make. Well, it's his life story, but it's not good. God, these people are bad. You didn't like the Fablemans, did you?
I didn't hate it as much as you did. I didn't hate it as much as you did. No, but this is what I will tell you. This is something that, and I know I always get crap for this because I say this out
go ahead.
Quite a few because I'm not afraid to say it.
Good.
But I do feel like, there's so many movies now that, first of all, movies are not as good as they used to be.
No question.
I'm just gonna put that out there.
100% fair.
And people can shit on me all they want. I just don't think that the movies in general are as good as they used to be.
Yeah, you're right.
I think there was something that happened during the pandemic, that there was a shift, and that happened. I mean, but it really started dropping off around 2016, 2017, I think, is when the movies kind of really.
Although 2019 was a good year, right? You go back to 2019, it was one of the strongest, right? You had Parasite winning, but that year had a ton of really good films. And some films that don't even get like Oscar nominations. Like I remember that year was the year that
was Waves, right?
Yep, exactly. I like Waves, Loose. Right? No, Neon had a killer in 2019. Everyone talks about Parasite.
They had Ammonite the following year. Your favorite movie.
Ammonite was so bad. Yeah, no. They went from like the best year ever, 2019, one of the best years ever for any studio distributor ever. Neon 2019 with Parasite, Wild Rose is a film I love. Lose. There's a bunch of films in there that are really good. Those are three pop for me. There's another one I'm forgetting. But you look at that, and then you go to 2019 with Ammonite and some stuff. I mean, but overall, and listen, let's talk about an A24 film, because Neon to me is, I've enjoyed way more Neon movies now than I have A24. In fact, I just had last week, Scott, the entire stream was the death of A24, because this year's been one of the worst years ever for them. I think it's the worst by far. The films I've had to sit through this year, including Tuesday, and then the last one, The Front Room. These are, I can't believe they even put them out. Like, I mean, I said, Scott, last week, A24 should just bounce. They should bounce those films. They should never carry a label and never be shown. When you guys see Tuesday, I think it's finally coming out on digital. If you haven't, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus with the killer parakeet. I'm sorry, it's a parrot. It's the parrot Grim Reaper. When you guys watch that movie, you're all going to come back and go, oh my God, Weber was too kind on Tuesday. But now it looks like they've got The Brutalist. Let's talk about The Brutalist, because that is a very niche film, right? Just from knowing what I know about it. But sell me on The Brutalist and that 3.5 hour runtime. Your job is to sell everybody watching on The Brutalist, and you may begin.
We didn't answer the question, so real quick before we get into this,
which one?
To close the Joker quiet. This moment, if right now on Sunday, September 15th, I would say that it gets one of the last Best Picture slots. Okay. It will not get director.
No. Well,
it will not get director.
Not because it's not deserved. You just think it just won't.
It won't. No, because it's too tight. It's too tight already.
Can I ask you this? Yeah. Is it because it's a white director? Don't answer that. It's just a rhetorical question. Is it a white director? I had to sit through it.
I think.
No, it's not just that.
Okay. I know. I think it's also that I think there's people have a thing against Todd Phillips.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, but also because he's a white guy.
I think that this is I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just, again, it's the polarizing elements of Joker that kind of, like, it was hard for anyone, Joaquin Phoenix was a sweep for Joker.
Oh, 100%.
When it won 2019. Because even if you didn't like the movie, you couldn't have, you can't say that's not a fucking amazing performance.
Yeah.
because it was so damn good.
What about this year?
Does
he get the best actor this year?
He's just as good in this.
So
I have him right now as number 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll stay there.
Because remember, he already won. We talk about how Hollywood and the Oscars work like that, so it makes perfect sense. Okay, now
Gaga will probably get in because again, not only do I think that in supporting, but not only because I think the performance is good, but also again, what people never seem to talk about is also how well liked is this person in the industry, and how much. So like, I'm going to have a wild card, and we're not going to talk about this movie, but The Substance, I feel like that could be a dark horse for
Demi Moore. Yeah,
because she has that kind of Hollywood royalty prestige.
Yep,
everyone likes it. So if what's that lady, Andrea Riseborough, whatever.
Yep. Out of nowhere for that film that was so overrated.
Right? Yeah, right. She can get something for at least the movie that I was kind of. By the time that movie ended, I was very mixed on it. Yeah. But like, I was very into it for the first half. But like, reality is that at least the movie has something to say. I think people appreciate it, and she's really good in the movie. So I think like it's a weird genre film that normally they don't recognize, but it's her, and she's royalty. And that's the same thing I'm going to say with Gaga, because people love Lady Gaga. Like literally, they pushed to get freaking House of Gucci in, and I mean, she's 300 times better in this movie than she was in House of Gucci.
No, House of Gucci. But listen, it's very important that we stop doing that shit where it's like this is a genre film. You go back to Toni Collette in Hereditary. How does that not get a nomination? What are we doing? What are we doing? You have to. I talk about it all the time. I know you understand this. You have to be able to extract elements from films, even if it's not a great film. You could have amazing cinematography in a very mid to mid plus film. Go back to Gretel and Hansel, always bring that up. Cinematography.
Dude, how about Judy? Out. I mean, there's a lot of mediocre movies that have won Oscars because there's an element in them that's really strong.
But it's usually performance. It's never cinematography or score. Score should come from anything. It could be The Wild Robot, right? It could be.
Wild Robot should get in for score. What's a freaking amazing score?
Right? And then go back to, I think, what's it called? The one that was with the guy that, the Pixar movie, the last one that got it, Soul. I knew I'd get it. Soul, that got in, right? Reznor Ross got in for that. They better have. Yeah. But I'm saying you have to be able to extract things from movies, and it's a lot of times the performances. I want to see more than that. Okay, now you have to sell me on the Brutalist.
Okay,
we're gonna go fast.
Brutalist feels very. I mean, first of all, I don't know if you saw the article today that came out.
Nope.
The fact that the movie was actually made for under $10 million is mind blowing.
Really,
mind blowing.
Because of what? Because of production design.
Production design, just the scope of the film, the number of actors that are in it, the way it looks. I mean, it was shot in like 16 millimeter in some states.
I love that.
I mean, like some great, and it feels, there's so many movies that you watch, and we're all kind of guilty of this, of saying like, oh, they don't make a movie like this anymore.
Right.
Blah, blah,
you just said that earlier.
Yeah. That's what. No, I said no.
I know.
So funny. I said that about this movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie that defines that because it's sort of one of those movies where you look at it and it takes you back where you actually think it was shot in a different period. Like if told you that the movie was shot in the 70s, you would actually believe it.
Right. And so that's an accomplishment, right? We always talk about that. The production design and the aesthetic, right? Especially a time period aesthetic, and not just the way it looks, the way it's shot, right? All of that. And I think you go back and I look at a Black Phone, and I talk about Black Phone a lot. I don't think it's definitely not a scary film, but I love the aesthetic, right? It's got that 80s. It just feels like it was set in that time period. So if that's captured here, then I'm in. I mean, I'm in on the Brutalist, even though I just hammered A24. I want to see the film, but I think that is the 3.5 hours. Is it manageable, or I know you're different than a lot of people, but for the average person,
it's it's torturous. I mean, like, I'm
ouch.
gonna say this because
Go ahead.
we saw it at Venice, and we saw it in a theater that had really uncomfortable seats, where like we were crammed in, and my ass was hurting, and like I just wanted to keep getting up. But you know, I do want to rewatch it to see if like in a regular theater where I actually have
AMC recliner.
Yeah, or a Cinemark recliner.
Fine, I know.
Recliner
I'm just an AMC guy.
Matter.
Correct. A recliner,
wherever it is.
Yep.
But
gotta have recliner.
But the thing is like in a film festival thing. I mean, also like there's no drinks in Venice. I know you don't participate in the snacks and stuff, but like for a movie 3.5 hour long, no popcorn, no soda, no like and just sitting there
protein bars,
no protein bars, just crammed there. You know. But I will say, I mean, the runtime, you know, there's a lot going on in the movie. I was very interested in it, but I mean, the average person sitting through it are just going to be like, oh my God.
There you go. Then there's your niche film.
This is a lot. And then the movie itself, like, I mean, there's so many great, I mean, the storytelling, the production design, cinematography, I mean, all the things that kind of check the boxes for the perfect kind of awards movie. This movie kind of has. I mean, really, it really does. The second half of the movie feels, ironically enough, almost rushed. And it feels too short, even though it's only 15 minutes less than the first half. So the first half, like I was trying to explain this in my review, the first half feels like everything is like, and then this happened. We walked to our cars and we did this and we did this. And then in the second half, it's like, this happened. And then this happened. And then this happened. And this happened. And then the movie's over. And you're like sitting there going like, holy shit, we just did a time jump like for 20 years. And like in this first one, we were like literally living out like maybe a month.
That's a lot of directors have that issue. I think that they get so married to where the film is in the editing stage that they get to the end. They're like, this is already 3 hours. I got to compress this. That's probably what happened. But you have to, as a director, and listen, not a director, but I think you have to have some calibration. We always talk about directorial calibration. You have to understand that if you're at that point, then you need to go back into the front and take out some of the front, and then you can maybe extend some of the back or make the front tighter and the back tight, and then it doesn't feel so jarring. That's calibration. We talk about that all the time. Not every director can do that because a lot of them get married to whatever they already put in the film. They can't imagine condensing it or extracting it, and that's where the issue comes in with the runtime. So maybe he had that issue. It sounds like he might have.
I think overall, like, for someone who, if you're a hardcore film person, you know, you can sit through this. So like what I said earlier about like being like a hard watch, you know, for me, it was a hard watch mainly because of the fact of like, I was uncomfortable in the theater.
Right.
But like, I was still like, there was a point in the movie, I won't lie. Like when the intermission happened, Ashley turned to me and she says, you know, I'm really uncomfortable. Can we leave? And I said, no. I said, you can go. But I said, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch the rest of this. And it's just a movie that you're very engrossed in because it kind of, like I said, it takes you back to a different time. The story's really good. The performances are great. There's so many things in it, but it's all about the atmosphere that you're sitting in and like how it is. But it's also a movie that, again, if you know your film history, if you're someone who's really into film, there's much more you're going to take out of this than the average person. An average person, like you said, they're going to sit through it 3.5 hours. They're going to be like, oh my God, like get to the point already. Like what's going on?
And that's why it sold to A24, Scott. Just what you said. That's it. I mean, because no one's going to, Netflix knows that they're not going to get viewing numbers on that. They're not going to get viewed. You can think about Netflix. You look at that and they're like runtime 3:30. Like, nope, just click. They're not going to get any streaming on that because how often I get screening links and a lot of times I obviously pass because I want to go see it at a theater. I do not want to watch a screening link at home. I ask for them and I never watch them. But if I am going to watch it and I see it's 140, then I'll give it a shot. But if I see it's 210, I'm at home, I just won't do it. So I think you're asking a lot of 3:30. That's the problem with that film, even if all the things are there, like you said. Now, conversely, I think you're looking at a film Saturday night. I see on Tuesday, by the way, which sounds weird, right? Tuesday night, I see it here in LA. I will have a reaction for Saturday night on Tuesday here on MMT. And I want you to walk us through that film. Why is it so entertaining?
Because it picks up on all of the craziness of starting a TV show without like scripts, without plans, without organization, just kind of what ifs. What if, we put a bunch of funny people in a room?
Right.
Surely this can work. And it's just the madness of everything that shouldn't have worked somehow did. And that's kind of the magic. And what I loved about the movie was like, as the movie's going on, you're learning that like they wanted this show to fail. And then knowing the history of this show.
Yeah.
Even though people still complain about it to this day. And I mean, I stopped watching it. But like the fact that it's running 50 years, it's celebrating 50 years this year. That's insane.
Right. And it almost didn't make it. That's the thing.
Almost there was like Johnny Carson's calling, basically saying the show's going to fail. We're going to have to put a rerun of my show on, but it's also what's really great about it is sort of this. The one thing that the movie does really well is that, and this is always my like biggest pet peeve with movies that are trying to portray famous people, is that they put in people who are too famous to play other people who are famous.
Correct. Yes, 100%.
So when I'm watching,
you can't get away from the fact. I go real quickly because that's a great point. I want to mention this, and everyone knows the Social Network's a masterpiece. That's not even a question. Do not even no debate here at MD. If you otherwise, you're banned. It's gone. Don't ever come back. But the one thing I would change about that movie, I would get rid of Timberlake. I would have cast somebody else in that role. Not that I think he wrecks the film, but just to your point, he's too big. It's like, that's Justin Timberlake. I want to see Sean Parker as some random guy that I don't know. And I think that was the problem with that film. And if I ever talk to Fincher at a party, which I won't because he works with Netflix, so I don't even care about his movies anymore. That's how far he's fallen. But I would go, I don't think that was smart. Even to sell tickets, I just wish you would have done that. So that's interesting. I think it's a great take because you can't sometimes disassociate the two things, and then you're stuck going, that's Timberlake.
Yeah, and I think that so the one thing that the movie does have is that they J.K. Simmons is in the movie.
Yep.
He has literally like a 3 to 4 minute scene, and he's playing another person that's not associated with Saturday Night Live. And then William Dafoe is sort of like a studio kind of person. So like it's fine. Because like you don't really know those people. You can't really connect those people, right?
Right. Not Dan
But the
Aykroyd.
guy who plays like Chevy Chase or John Belushi or I mean even Ella Hunt, who like I love, but I know like a lot of people don't know who the fuck she is.
Yeah.
But she's like really good. And that's what I thought was really great about the movie is you sort of have all of these like character actors playing these roles and they sort of make it their own. Perfect. And I really, really enjoy and it's quick. And it's almost like in real time sort of thing.
Right.
Where it's like you got the countdown for like 90 minutes. And it all sort of has this nice flow where you kind of get the chaos. There's a lot of stuff going on. Everyone's trying to do their act. I mean, love the fact that like it showcases how like un-PC it was back then and how people just go around on set saying whatever the fuck they wanted to. And, it's really a miracle of a show when you watch this movie. Watch this movie,
I can't wait to see it on Tuesday because I'm going to see it Tuesday and I'll have the MMT reaction probably about 9:15, 9:30.
I will say the one thing that I will say, like a lot of people, I love Jason Reitman. I'm a big Jason Reitman.
Up in the air, baby.
Yeah, Up in the Air. The one thing that I will say is that people were saying that this is as good as Up in the Air. It's not as good.
Oh, yeah, come on. No, Up in the Air, I think it's a classic. I mean, I think it's that good. Up in the Air, I would watch. You ask, what film would you take with you to a deserted island? Up in the Air, right? Because it's just so great. Clooney's masterful in that movie. I just love the tone of it. I love the fact that he doesn't get the girl at the end, which a lot of people are like, no, that's what makes the movie. I want to see a movie that isn't a perfect bow at the end, right? I want to see something a little bit uglier. Here's the question I have for you. Is this a best picture? Yes or no?
Yes.
Boom. Done. Okay. Next film, Anora. Is this a best picture?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Don't tell me because of the buzz. Just tell me, you said I'm going to have a problem with it. You don't need to say what it is, but is this as great as everyone's saying? Because I have some issues with Sean Baker films. I really do.
No, it's not. I mean,
okay.
I mean, now we're starting to go in, like, now as we go on to these titles now, these are the movies where, like, I start looking at the hype and I kind of start going, like, nah. Like, and this is what I was talking about earlier. And, like, I know people are going to say, like, how can you call Joker a masterpiece and not Anora a masterpiece? Joker, to me, like, had elements and it was trying to say something, and, like, the tone fit throughout the movie. This movie here, like, it's like serious, grounded, real life. Then it goes into, like, this kind of crazy mob-like scenario thing. And, I mean, it's a little over the top, and then it ends in such a heartbreaking tragic.
All right, stop. You're going to ruin it. But listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. Is everything you're saying about Anora, and by the way, Sean Baker, I think I still have it in here, so if anybody's like, Weber doesn't like Sean Baker, really? Okay, hold on. I think I have it here somewhere. He's our MMT cinema champion because he puts everything in a theater. He only works with Neon or Focus or whoever's going to be for his films, A24. But you look at Sean Baker, I think you're looking at a better director than a writer. So, listen, I want to watch a Sean Baker direction, the tech. I want to see how it feels and looks. But I go back to Red Rocket. That is a weird, I do not like that film at all from a screenplay perspective. The whole, listen, I love, he does weird things. I don't know. I don't think he's that funny. I think I like Sean. And Sean, if you see this, I just think that you need to ground your films. I haven't seen Anora, but what you're just telling me, he needs to ground his films more in pathos, more in drama, rather than having these comedic elements that just take you out, like the Red Rocket and the whole, how problematic some 40-year-old dude hitting on the 60. It's just, man, I'm telling you, Sean, just listen to me. You'll get better. And I know this just won the palm right over there at Cannes. Yeah. I get it, but that doesn't mean that you can't improve. So I just, this is already worrying me. And now now they're not going to show it to me because they're going to watch the stream and go, Weber might not say it's great. Too bad. I just said it earlier about Sean Baker. So is that fair what I just said?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I mean, I've watched all his movies.
Yep.
And like you said, I appreciate him from a filmmaking standpoint. I like the fact that, like, films he tries to make are grounded. Like, they have these lot of elements of grounded, very kind of dirty, real world scenarios. But then they just, there's just elements to all of them where they go off the rails. I feel like that's 100%. Not the right word to use.
No, it is.
It just like it goes somewhere into a realm of fiction.
Yes.
Where, like, it's just a little bit too much as a separation. I mean, you'll see it with this. So
I'm sure I will.
So the movie basically is the girl's like a stripper and she's a sex worker or whatever. I mean, he has this love affair with the sex worker thing.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm just going to say, sorry, guys. Listen, what did I just have? I literally just had the thing that said cinema champion. But I'm just saying, if I had made these movies, trust me, Weber, that's a little creepy. Why are we only I don't like when we selectively tag certain things. It's okay. It's Sean Baker. Listen, I like you, Sean. I like what you do, but there is some weird shit going on. Can you just maybe not do that? Is it hard? But you know what? You're asking. I know. I'm sorry, Scott. I'm gonna let you finish. But listen, if someone's a little bit weird, you're asking them not to be weird is not a normal thing. They can't do it. So I think you kind of get who the person is in that screenplay. And, as you know, Scott, we're writing a screenplay. It's very grounded, and you're going to see parts of what I am and do kind of in the film. But the point is that it doesn't veer into that, like you said, that hyper reality. That once we go there, you go back to Florida Project and you go to the end of that film where all of a sudden you have that dream sequence where she's at Disney. You don't set that up. It's no point in that movie. The little girl, Brooklyn Prince, is a little bitch the entire film. She is. She's 100%. She's a full throttle bitch the entire time. No modulation. And then I didn't know we'd go all so hard on Sean Parker, on Baker. But here's the thing: it's fair. Look, as I put this up, we're hammering him. That's MMT. This is exactly what we do. You've got conflicting things going on all the time. You don't know what's going to happen. But listen, you got to set that up. You have to have her turn to her mom and say, "Can we go to Disney?" Never doesn't do that. And then at the end, she's like, "There she is." I'm like, "What am I watching?" The end of that film just falls apart. Red Rocket's worse. But I'm just saying. Listen, here's what I worry. Anytime everyone's like, Anora's the best movie I've ever seen, oh my God, I'm like, it's not. There's no way. And remember, Scott, I do trust you way more than other people. I don't trust you implicitly because you like The Whale. But here's the thing. Is that a lot of these people I talk about all the time, I don't trust any of them. None of them. Not one. You asked me. I don't have. I have literally a list of like 4 people. We've recommended them here. That's it. So back just quickly on that. So I'm going to see this in this film, right? What I just said is going to show up.
Yeah, you're going to totally see it. And I think what's going to make it a little bit worse for you is the fact that it's not towards the end on this. It's really kind of the center of the movie. And it's weird because I kind of liked it more because of that.
Yeah.
Because it was like it was sort of more entertaining.
Yeah, I got you.
Right?
Yeah.
Where like I was watching it and I was kind of entertained, and then I was actually almost like, the ending is such a like fucking downer.
No. Well then I probably will like it then.
But you won't, because it's gonna like you're not. It's not like you're not gonna not like
jarring tone. The jarring tone. I don't. That's a problem. Big problem.
Yeah. So you're gonna have that in the middle where you're gonna be totally into it in the beginning. Yeah. You're gonna get to it in the middle.
Yep.
And then you're gonna get to the end. And then there's just like you said, there's just certain things. I mean, listen, I get that Sean Baker's obviously very, very passionate about bringing light to sex workers and like kind of giving them, making them the heroes and things of that nature. Like, I get it. Like, he's really trying to humanize that angle. And
it's every film.
Yeah, but yeah, right. I mean, there's just certain elements, like the guy who's in this movie who Mickey falls in love with, Nora falls in love with, like, and that's not spoiling anything, it's in the trailer. The guy is just like super annoying, and like I don't understand like why I get like she's driven by money and whatnot, but I just don't get it. I don't like I don't get why. In a weird way, I understand why like people are reacting to this movie, because I think it's like it sort of feels unlike his other movies where I don't know. I wouldn't say any of his other movies are particularly entertaining.
Yeah.
I would say they're like more kind of like a lesson kind of thing. Like, there's a lesson that you're going to be learning. There is a level of like entertainment here. And like the performance, I mean, Mickey's really good. The lead girl in this.
Did she get a nomination or not?
Yeah, she.
Nomination. All right, so there's that.
Sure. But like, I don't know, and I really do think it'll get picture. I just don't know if director and screenplay are on the table.
Well, that's the problem. Movie. It's the screenplay. The problem is it's always the screen.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think when you have tone, this is very hard to do. And it's one of the reasons I think Promising Young Woman's not a great film, because the tone of that film is going all over the place. And I don't think that Emerald had command of the modulation, of the calibration. And I talk about this all the time. As a director, you have to have masterful command of the calibration of the film to be able to pull off tone and tonal shifts that are jarring. And you look no further than Parasite. I remember seeing Parasite, right? It's this laughable comedy, and then at the end, it devolves into Tarantino violence, okay? When it happened, I go, oh no, this is, I don't like what's happening. But because Bong is a master and he knows how to calibrate, he brings it there through the final shot of the son looking into the house, watching the signals. That's perfect. So it was weird. It was like this roller coaster like you talk about, but because Bong's talented, he did it. Promising Woman doesn't work. The end falls apart. I know you like the movie more than me, but trust me, she's not ready. To do that, you have to possess real talent, like a talent that not everybody possesses, like very few do. And that's why Tarantino a lot of tonal shifts. Go look at Babylon, a film that has a ton of tonal shifts that don't work. I called that a tonal disaster when I walked out of it. He had no control of that film. You've got scenes like the, first sound scene, right, with her, and she's on the stage. That's a great scene. You got Pitt getting told that he's done. That's a great scene. But then in between, you've got Tobey Maguire. You've got elephants shitting on people. And it's like, what? This is terrible. And anyone who defends Babylon, I'm telling you guys, and I know you don't, so I can say this. It's over. I mean, guys, I'm not kidding when I say this. If you think Babylon is a great movie, I'm going to let you know that you are announcing to the universe that you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Not even like you are done. You're never coming back. You're buried, and then we're going to do Itchy and Scratchy. You're going to come out of the grave, and then Itchy's going to shoot you in the head. You're going back down the well. That's how bad it's done. It is over. So sorry, that was a long-winded about tone. So it sounds like the tone. If you don't have tone, you better not try it. You better make sure it's perfect, because if it's not gonna work.
Yeah. And I think the problem is that the movies right now, the movies that I've seen so far have sort of been shown to a theatrical audience that celebrates like film festivals, that has been to film festivals.
Film Twitter.
That's not like, they're not normal people. Right, and I
talk about this all the time, Scott. Go ahead, keep going.
It's just they're not the average moviegoer, right?
Nope.
And it's funny because I have a couple friends who go to these festivals. I wouldn't say like they're my best friends forever, but like they're people who I've known throughout the years who I often disagree with. But one of them saw Anora. His wife absolutely hated the movie. He was like, I was so looking forward to this. It was kind of disappointing. Like and he's not like, he's someone who has a theater in his house. He's someone who's like really into movies. So like hearing that kind of tells me what I need to hear, that like all of these reactions are sort of from, people who are just set up to like for what this movie's about. Like these are, I can't wait to see this. And that's why I have no problem. Like when I come out of things, like, is it easy for me to go, this is my favorite Sean Baker film? Absolutely. It's no lie at all. Because I wanted to like walk out of Red Rocket.
Yep.
I'm
with you. It's
not
a great film.
I didn't like Florida Project either. I thought Brooklyn Prince was so fucking annoying.
Oh, you're the only person, by the way, who's ever said that. We talk about
William Dafoe is amazing.
He's great. But no, again, and this speaks to, listen again, Sean, we're going to attack you again. Sorry, I have to. When you watch Florida Project, as a director, you have to. I don't care if you grab Brooklyn Prince out of a Target in Orlando. That's great. Doesn't matter. You still have to, as a director, you have to go and have her modulate the performance and not be full throttle bitch the entire film. And she's so very unlikable. She's so unlikable. You have to make her sweet. Show a scene where she's sweet. Something where you soften the edge. She's so unlikable, and it's not her fault because she's a young actress. She didn't get the direction from Sean. She did not get the note from Sean. So Sean, listen, sorry, dude, it's there. Listen, I'd love to have you on, and you wouldn't want to come on because we're literally hammering so many things. But it's true. I'm 100% right, because that's what MT does. We are 99.9% accurate. He doesn't have that under control. That's a director problem, because if she's a younger actress, she's never done anything. These are the first thing. He has to go up to her, pull her aside, and say, listen, I know I told you that this character largely is a product of her mother, and she's nasty and mean. She hates everything because her mom's like that, and no one pays attention to her. I get all it. But we still have to have you be a sweet little 9-10-year-old girl, whatever, right? And so that has to come through. It doesn't come through in the performance, and that's why that film suffers. So you're exactly right. You have to have, and I think we talk about that all the time. Directors, I know a lot of directors watch, so just listen. You have to tell your actors, if you're not getting what you're getting, you have to figure out a way to make that happen, and it's always about modulation. You cannot have it be all full throttle, full tilt bitch. You have to pull it back. You have to understand that when we're at 11, I need you at an 8. You've got to be able to do that. And the best directors can. The best directors get great performances out of their actors. And just quickly back on Joker, look at what Todd gets out of, obviously, Joaquin, you're going to get everything great, but he gave good notes. Clearly you can see, and you said Gaga's good. So there's directors who are better at that. So again, with Anora, I can't answer what happened here, but again, I think I love hearing you say that about Florida Project, because why am I the only person who saw this movie and saw exactly that, and then now you're telling me exactly what I just said?
No, I saw that. It was another one that I saw at TIFF, and I mean, I heard such rave reviews about it, and I sat through it, and I was like, outside of William Dafoe and the filmmaking, like, why is this so critically praised? I just didn't see it.
What did you just say, though? We're gonna move on, because I know we talked so much. This is like a Sean Baker stream at this point. Is what'd you just say? You love the filmmaking? Because we do love the filmmaking. He's great. The way he puts a film together. It's the screenplay that's the issue. So it's the best of his films.
It's the screenplay, but it's also like what he like. Okay, so all right. So now we're talking about Florida Project. Okay, so take Brooklyn Prince's character in this movie.
Yep.
And then take the guy in this movie. It's basically the same problem. He's so like over the top.
No. Well, then it's Sean Baker. Sorry, Sean. This is you again. This is on Sean Baker.
Wasn't
100%
that the
on Sean
problem
Baker.
in Red Rocket?
Yes.
That guy's whatever that guy's got. I can't remember that.
Simon Rex. Simon Rex is too goofy in that movie.
He's too goofy.
What are you doing? Listen, I didn't even go off on that film. But here's the thing. Everything you just said speaks to, and I've talked to Sean. I talked to Sean at the Critics' Choice the year that Florida Project was nominated. He's very soft-spoken. He's very quiet. So you can't be, as a director, I got to tell you this, guys, you got to kind of be a little bit of a dick. Not a raging dick, but you've got to be able to have an honest conversation, like you said, with this actor in the movie when I'll see it. And I'll be like, dude, modulate. I mean, I don't, go up and say that. I need you to modulate. You're at an 11. Can you bring it to an 8.5? Can we just play with a little bit of levels? Because if he's not saying that, it's not the actor's fault. It is the director's fault. It is 100% the director's fault, because the director has to go in and talk to the actor and say, here's what I need you to do. If I had a director who was doing this show, which thank God I don't, because I wouldn't listen. But if I did, Scott, and they gave me a note, I would have to, because I'm working for a company. I have to listen to it. So the director has to have the balls to say that. A lot of directors obviously don't. So that's scary when you say what you just said about this performance.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, that's just the way that I felt about the movie. I mean, listen, it has more of a wide scope appeal.
Yep.
And I can see more people liking this than any of his other films, for sure. No question about it. And I think the movie moves better. I think people will get more out of it. I don't know how people will feel about again, film critics different. Film aficionados different than real audiences will feel about that ending.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, overall the movie's good. I mean, it's just, again, is it deserving of all the hype? No, because of the fact that it's not, again, these weird things that have like this hype of like, this is a masterpiece. This is so great. This is so great. This is so great. This is so great. And it's so funny because I said this, the one thing that I actually do like, I'm sorry to go back to Joker, but I like the fact that it's the reactions are polarizing. Like, I kind of like that about the movie because,
they're wrong.
Right.
That's like me and Babylon, right?
Yeah.
And the whale. No, but listen, you know that they're wrong, and I bet you they are. But right, I know what you're saying. You'd rather have a discussion,
right? And I just feel like this, like, everyone's like, wow, run the palm, so it has to be, it has to be great. It has to be great.
Well, no.
And I think that's the ongoing issue, is that people have these expectations that are kind of set up for certain movies once they screen, that, like, again, even like The Substance, there's that elements of that movie is really strong. The filmmaking, the lunacy of it.
Yep.
Margaret and Demi, both of them are great in the movie. I mean, but like, once it gets to a certain point, you're sort of like, okay, you crossed the bridge here.
Oh no.
And you went too far.
Oh god! And also the runtime's 220 should never come into 220.
Yeah, no.
I haven't seen it. That's a kiss of death. Who's putting that out? Mubi, yeah. You guys, someone's got to tell these directors to get it under control. I haven't seen the movie. I'm going to see it this week. It'll be our Thursday night big film here, The Substance. But I'm just telling you, again, back to directors have to tell actors, studios have to tell these directors to get it under control. I've seen a lot of films this year that are under control. Look no further than Skincare, 140. Look at Strange Darling, 140. Another film I just saw about 140. That's where I want to be, right? Am I Racist, which we'll talk about in a minute here. That's 140. Too long. That movie does not need to be 140. But the point is we need to have people in space. Problem is we have people in Hollywood here in this town who don't have the ability to do that. They don't even know. They're in positions and they don't have the talent. That's the issue too. You have to have someone who knows, me, you, anybody, the people that know what they're talking about. And you watch a stream, I hope you understand I know what I'm talking about. But the reality is you have to bring that into the room with the directors and say, you've got to pare this down. It's got to get down. You have to. This is not a question of could you, it's you must, and you must cut 10 to 15 minutes, and I can see where I see it, and we're going to do it here. Here's what I want you to do. Bang, 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 and I want you to tighten it up. Now, in the old days, that happened all the time. Scott, studio system, right? I get it. But there was talent in positions there, and also studios had more control. I know there's directors out there going, oh my God, Weber is such an asshole for saying these things, because a lot of you need help. Sean Baker, we just drilled him for like 20, 30 minutes. Some of these directors need help. I go back and I watch A Strange Darling. JT, who I've talked to a lot on Twitter, and it was really great to meet him at the premiere for that here in LA. But there's things about that film that I wish I could have gotten and said, listen, I would really recommend you do A, B, and C. And the thing is not everybody can do that. That's the reality. Not everybody can do that. So I understand why a director wouldn't want to hear that from somebody who doesn't have a fucking clue. But if I would have seen Babylon, I would have sat down with Damien Chazelle at the offices in Paramount as the head of creative there. And running the film division, I would have said, holy fuck, dude, this is terrible. This isn't just bad. This is god-awful. I need you to extract, because that's a 3-hour film, right, Scott? I need you to take out at least an hour, and I need you to clean up all the tone, and if we have to reshoot it, we're not releasing this movie. It's never going to see the light of day the way it is. It's never coming out. Do you hear me, Damien? Now get out. Get out and start making cuts. Do not come back until it's 2 hours and you reshoot a shit ton of it. Because someone has to tell them that, Scott, but no one does. No one does in this town. They're like, you're so great. Oh, you're so perfect. Netflix, just do whatever you want. That's why a lot of these directors work with Netflix, because you can make whatever movie you want. Yeah, a bad one, because no one told you this isn't good.
I think the problem is that there's starting to be this, I don't know, there used to be a time when we saw director cuts of movies once it kind of earned the status, like where it's like the movie was good enough that
you earn the trust.
You have the trust. You can release it, director's cut, and the director's cut, arguably, just a lot of people sometimes is better than the theatrical cut. But the reality of it is that there's just movies where you have to look at them and you kind of understand, like, why this won't appeal to people. Or why this doesn't appeal to a bigger audience.
Well, you get it, I get it, but a lot of people don't understand.
Well, listen, again, it sounds like in this stream, like I'm like these movies, like I'm like, oh, like he put out a positive tweet. How is he saying these so many things? Like The Brutalist, for all the great things that it is, and the way that the story's stretched out and stuff like that, like from a film nerd's point of view, like I can understand that and I can appreciate it. And I even argued that I wish they took 15 minutes off the first half and they added that 15 minutes to the second half,
exactly,
so that they can actually build out some of the story elements in the second half. But that movie can also be, if you were really doing it and you wanted to make it more mainstream accessible, that movie could be over in 2 hours. There is just things about the movie that you literally can kind of cut that down, streamline it, and it can be done in 2 hours. And I think that's the same problem with like most of these movies, is that the run times are just too long.
Because why?
And regardless,
because the directors are doing whatever they want. Because no one has the balls to walk into the first cut, and when they watch that film, because I know he sold it there, so it's different with that. But if you're a studio who has the film and they show it to you, then you should have, if you have any talent and any balls, you have the skill to tell the director, no way. There's no way. This film does not need to be 3 hours. The Irishman does not need to be 3 hours.
Oh, my God.
No way. I would have that conversation with Scorsese. I don't care about what legend you are. This movie's too fucking long. And I can tell you where it's every scene in that movie's too long. And no one has these conversations because it's Martin Scorsese. I don't give a fuck. It's Martin Scorsese. The movie's too long. Do you guys understand? It doesn't matter. I don't care. Damien Chazelle. I love Whiplash. Can't wait to see it when it comes back to theaters this week or next week. But still, it's terrible. Babylon's terrible. And you have to be able to tell these directors. No one in Hollywood does those, Scott, because they don't want to offend the directors. They don't want to maybe get someone in, because that's the society we live in now. And that's what we're going to talk about here in Am I Racist in a moment when we talk about that. You can't say these things. Weber, you're being mean. That you can't be mean. Too bad. You're doing a movie for me. I'm the studio. So you right. And so if Brutalist could bring in at 2:15 and you're at 3:30, because you wanted to get every shot you shot in the film in, that's a problem. That means you have no calibration. And what do I always hammer a film about? Directorial calibration. It is missing in so many of these films. It's very rare you watch a film and you're like, directorially, that was dialed in exactly how it should have been. Because these directors get too in love. They fall in love with the elements they shoot, and they can't imagine dropping it on the cutting room floor. No. Yeah, you will. You're gonna. I don't care if you spent 7 weeks shooting that scene. It's out. That's it. Mic drop. Okay, before we go, so I got to get to Am I Racist? And I know you haven't seen it, so I've got to do that tonight, because I literally went to the 8 to see it tonight so I could go. You have to see it because I'm going to probably have to let you go before I say that it's good. Yeah. At least funny, okay? But I want to get at least one more in here, and I think Heretic is the one I want to talk about, because a lot of people are excited for this, even though I just buried A24 last week. I really want to see Heretic because it's a horror. First of all, it is a horror film, correct? Oh God! Oh no!
More of a psychological thriller.
Okay, fine, but you loved it, correct?
I loved it.
Whoa!
Absolutely loved it.
Okay.
And I think what really
don't say anything about what happens here, right?
No,
yeah, I know.
What really makes it is that it's a deconstruction of religion.
Okay.
And I think Hugh Grant plays a character that is very much unlike Hugh Grant. That at least we've seen him in movies.
Right.
In TV, he's done some interesting things outside of it, but like this is kind of like little bit of a jarring performance from him from what you're used to seeing Hugh Grant in. And talk about being able to extract things from film. This is a performance that I would actually put as an awards performance. I think he is really that good.
Well, listen, that's what we talked about at the beginning of the stream, being able to extract the element, go to the substance, Demi Moore, and here with Hugh Grant in Heretic, be able to extract Toni Collette. Guys, come on, we all know Hereditary. It's got to be there. So you have to be able to extract that performance from a film. I don't even care. Hell, it could be Terrifier 3. If there's a performance in Terrifier, even though, no, definitely never going to happen with a Terrifier movie. But you get my point. You have to be able to do that. So that's good to hear. I can't wait. When's that film out, by the way?
I don't even know. So it has the girl.
It's really early screening.
It's a really early screening.
That's what I thought.
It has it has the girl Sophie Thatcher from Yellow Jackets is in it.
Right. I don't watch this show, but I've heard of it.
And then Chloe East, which is the girl you hated in Fablemans, but I loved her. I thought she was great.
I don't even remember
the girlfriend of Spielberg.
Yeah, right.
Crazy religious one.
Yeah.
So there two of them are in that. So it's really a 3-person movie.
Okay. That's it, right?
And
they show up on the doorstep, and
it's very. I love it. It's like kind of has that claustrophobic feel because everything's kind of take place in the house.
Nice,
and it's just again. There's just like some great imagery there. There's a scene with board games. I won't spoil it, but it's really brilliantly written. Some people say that the ending kind of goes a little bit too far and doesn't kind of match the rest of the movie. Right. I didn't personally have that big of an issue with
You're
the
saying
ending.
It's like First Remember that?
Oh my God.
I was sitting in with it all day, and then all of a sudden you're like, what are you doing here, Paul Schrader? What is happening? Right? It's not that like that crazy, is it? Because that was like, dude, what are we doing here?
No, when he wraps the damn metal around him and then he's floating down.
Dude, okay. But okay, fine. But you didn't have a problem with it.
No.
Okay, quickly. There's one. I think we just quickly touch on Emilia Perez. Is this Netflix's best film?
No.
No. I'm saying this year.
No.
No? What's their best film this year?
No. Hitman.
Oh, I didn't ever see it because it's not theatrical.
No,
it's better than. Oh, watch out, Scott! You're going to get people pissed off. This is apparently the second coming of the best film ever.
No, the problem is, and I tell Netflix this every year.
I'm sure they listen.
They don't want to hear it. and again, I mean, all the people there, they're always nice to me when I see.
No, that's good.
And but the problem is just that I'm not trying to be a jerk. I mean, there's elements. First of all, one of the big things that I did say to them when I saw them was, I hope this movie is going to get a theatrical push. Yep. Because when you watch it, it is a cinematic experience. It really is, because there's musical numbers.
Yep.
It takes place in all these different locations. You kind of want the big screen kind of experience for the movie.
Nope.
Now, in terms of the movie itself, again, it has a little bit of an issue with tone. It's a little jarring. I mean, I like some of the music numbers. Some of them are stronger than others. The movie itself is very interesting. Is it a screenplay thing? No. Is it a director's thing? Maybe, because at least there's some interesting choices.
Yep.
Is it going to get in the best picture? Probably, because there's not a lot of things that I would actually put in there right yet. Like, I still have Dune Part 2 on my...
no, it should be in there.
Yeah, I still have that. I'm actually putting out my first round of nominations tomorrow of my predictions tomorrow.
Well, listen, for sure Dune's in there. I wish Furiosa is one of the best films of the year. I don't care if it bombed. Don't give a shit. I love it. I know you don't agree with me, but it is, from a filmmaking perspective alone, it is absolutely cinema, and we have to get that. It's not going to happen, but we're going to get anything but that. But okay, so real quickly on
Emilia Perez is so here's the problem with Netflix has. So Netflix has...
What problem do they not have is the better...
They haven't. No, they have an embarrassment of riches in terms of performances. They have an embarrassment of riches because
I won't see any of them.
We can say Angelina Jolie for Maria,
right?
For sure, right? Because again, Hollywood icon. She's very good in the movie.
Right.
She'll have a better chance. Pablo, who did Spencer and Jackie.
I'm a big fan.
We already know that both those people have got nominated, and they were less liked than Angelina Jolie.
That's correct.
So there's no problem, no question about her getting in.
Yep.
She's going to get in.
Yep.
But then they have the problem is that they have the girl Carla, who's a newbie in this, who's kind of like the Lily Gladstone, if you will, of this year. I think they're going to put her in lead, which I do think is probably the best play for them. And then they're going to have Zoe Saldana and Selena Gomez kind of battle it out in supporting.
Or maybe they get two favorite.
In supporting, I would say.
Yeah, in supporting.
We're going to get two of them in supporting.
Yeah, 100%.
But they can't get them both.
No, I'm not saying it will. It's not likely, but it's possible.
But then they got Daniel Deadweiler, which I didn't see this movie, The Piano Lesson. And from what I've read and from the people I've talked to, she's the only thing that movie has going for it. Maybe Ray Fisher, but I don't think he has enough clout and enough push to kind of get him over the edge.
Right.
But Daniel Deadweiler, because of the whole thing, what happened, what was that, last year or the year before? What was that? That's another example of a movie that wasn't that great, but the performance was great. What was the hell was that movie?
Which one, from last year? Or from Judy? No,
I was talking about Judy, because Judy was an example of a bad movie, a mediocre movie that was
correct.
Till.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Mediocre movie. Very mediocre movie.
She's very good in it.
But she's great.
Yes, correct.
This is what I heard about The Piano Lesson.
Okay.
Is that Daniel Deadweiler is amazing in the movie.
Right.
But I didn't see this because I kept hearing, this is the repeat buzz that I heard from so many people, was you don't really need to see it other than Daniel Deadweiler. So I was kind of well, this is not that high on my priority list. Yeah. So I didn't see it. So I'll see it when Netflix sends me to a screening or sends me a screener link or a Blu-ray.
Well, they're not going to send me anything, so there you go. not that I'd watch it.
But so you have those. So right there, right? So you have her. I don't know if she falls into supporting or if she falls into lead. I'm going to guess supporting. So then you have Danielle, you have Zoe, you have Selena, and then you have the three girls who were in this movie, his three daughters, which is Carrie I think it's Carrie Coon, Elizabeth Olsen, your girl Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, my girl, damn right it is. Damn right.
And then I forgot who the other girl is who's in the movie. But like all three of those actresses are also great in that movie. So is they have this really great, and then if they want to that super hot girl who's in Hitman with Glenn Powell, she's really good in the movie too.
Watch out, Scott. They're going to call you creepy for saying who gives a shit? Screw 'em all. Elizabeth Olsen's drop dead gorgeous. Screw y'all.
I can't remember the girl's name who was in that, but she's very good. And then she's but yeah, so they have all these acting plays that they can do. And then I just feel like
get left out.
They're going to get left out, but then also like Hitman, I think, can maybe get screenplay as well, kind of like a screenplay nomination there. Maria, I feel like if it's going to be her, it's not getting in picture. It's probably going to get like maybe a cinematography or a costume design.
I can imagine it. Of course, with Maria, and obviously go back to Spencer, go back to Jackie, same thing, right? The cinematography, the way Pablo makes a film, it's like that's what I like the look of the film, the finish, the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's there.
So that's there. And then like I'm trying to think, Amelia Perez, like it can be like a bunch of like it's gonna probably get an original song because there's a bunch of songs in there. It's also could be a cinematography play. I think that's gonna get in the picture though, because I think Netflix is gonna really push that one.
Yeah.
And I think as long as they push them enough where there's enough people see them, not on the screener, but actually see them in a theater, even if it's the FYC screenings, I think that's gonna pass in. It's never gonna win Best Picture, but
won't win. Okay, quickly, last one, Conclave. Did someone asked if you've seen it?
Conclave is very good.
It is very good.
Yeah,
but it's a priest, another priest like sex scandal thing, isn't it?
So it's kind of more.
Don't say anything other than that's what I thought I read.
It's not just sex scandal. It's like a whole bunch of stuff in the church. It's very spotlight in the Vatican.
Well, I love Spotlight. Spotlight's amazing.
It has a lot of humor to it. Performances are very good. The last 10 minutes of the movie will be a make or break for certain people.
Got it.
You're either going to be like, oh, okay, I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like, I don't know about this.
Right.
I can tell you that. I feel like a lot of people haven't been talking about that all that much. Ralph Fiennes is definitely getting in. It's definitely getting in for picture. I'd probably put that at like number 3 right now.
Yeah, right. And it's Focus, right? Focus always gets something in there.
Focus. I mean, in Focus, it's a movie that, I mean, right now, I can see that winning.
Yeah,
right.
Sounds like it. That's why I'm glad I asked.
It'll be interesting if this is the year that they finally win. Focus has never won a Best Picture.
That's interesting because they always are in the race, right? They were very close. I think they thought they were very close with what's it called, the Branagh movie about his life, about his youth. What the hell was that? I already forget. Belfast, right? They thought they were close. Yeah. They thought they had a shot with that.
Movie got hate. That movie got hate. Holdovers, yeah. Holdovers got fucked in the last.
100%. 100%. Holdovers. And hello, how about, you ready, everybody? What movie do we love more than any other movie? Tar. The Focus features. I mean, Tar should have been a Best Picture.
Tars never was going to win Best Picture.
Yeah, I know, but it should be. It's a better film than Everything Everywhere. Oh, my God. Why don't they bring Tar back in IMAX? I don't want to watch Everything Everywhere with googly rocks and hot dog fingers and dildos and shit. I want to watch Tar. I want to watch her conduct again in IMAX. Come on, let's make that happen.
Oh, this guy Steve actually brought. Can you bring up this comment?
Let's see.
It's the girl who I was talking about.
Spotlight?
No.
Blink Twice?
Yeah, this is the girl right here.
Okay, gotcha.
Can you pronounce that name?
I love Blink Twice. I don't know.
Blink Twice is good. Ardria and.
Did you see Blink Twice? Blink Twice is badass.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's good. Blink Twice is so strong. I was blown away by Blink Twice. I'm sure Gore didn't love it because it's like, no, it's another Men Are Evil. Like, shut up, Gore. He's so boring. Chris Gore's the worst film critic ever. He's one of the worst. And I'll say it every single time. Where he was and where he is now, preaching to his stupid ass group of people that all think the same thing. Lame. And by the way, I'm about about ready to rave about a film, Scott, that is fully for their audience because I like it. So that's what you get on MMT. You don't know what you're going to get. That's what we love doing here. And Scott Menzel rocks. Everybody, I want you to give a round of applause for Scott Menzel. He's amazing. Everybody, thank you so much. I wish I had like a canned, applaud here. I'll just do it myself. Nice job, Scotty. You kicked ass. Listen, tomorrow I want you to go see Am I Racist? Because I'm going to talk about it here next. And I laughed a lot. And I'm going to talk about it here in a moment. So do that and then call me tomorrow and let's talk about it. But thank you again. Let's do this again. I mean, the people love you. So, and I think it's fun because especially if we can debate a film like The Whale.
I love that I turned the whole chat into a bunch of like everybody's like creeping on this girl, poor girl now. Oh, she's a really great actress too, by the way.
Someone did say, by the way, someone did say, you took you too long to mention Tar. You know what, Matthew? Watch it, bro. Listen, and the thing is like someone, I think Steve said we're not creeps. Thank you, Steve, for saying that like Elizabeth Olsen is like drop dead. So what? We're allowed to do that. Screw you guys. So I'm not going to listen to what I can.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying.
No, there's not. No, I'm just saying.
I
know. Whenever you say that, the film twin, they're always waiting for me to do something. Weber's the worst person ever. He's so terrible. Scott, you're awesome. Thank you again, sir. I will talk to you tomorrow. I'll give you a call. Give me a call when you're done with the movie. In my race.
Sounds good. I mean, there's so many things to see. I'm trying to think real quick before I let you go. If you have a chance, I would try to see A Real Pain. It didn't anything.
Right. They just sent a thing for that. When's it out? I kind of feel like waiting. I don't want to drive across town to see that.
It's probably another month.
Okay.
Can we talk about one real question real quick? I mean, this is going to be like a little bit of a controversial topic.
Go for it.
Do you think that giving everything that's going on in the world right now in terms of like politics and the whole Israel versus Palestine and and everything else that's going on in the world, two movies about the Holocaust are going to get into Best Picture?
Yeah, exactly.
Or get into the works because that's what I'm worried about between A Real Pain and The Brutalist. Because
listen. Because let's face facts, everyone knows any film about the Holocaust has a pretty good shot at getting a lot of attention. It's just the reality of it in Hollywood. And so, yes, why you're saying it can't? Or you think it will?
I'm wondering if it's going to hurt it because I don't know if you saw the thing yesterday or a couple days ago. There's a whole thing that went out in SAG where there was a whole bunch of actors basically saying like, we have to support those who don't agree with Israel. And I don't know. I just, Hollywood is very weird, like in terms of like kind of the politics angle of things and how they view things. And there's been a lot of pushback now because I know for a really long time it was very pro-Israel, but then there's a lot of actors that kind of came out and are more on the other side of things. And I mean, this is why I always feel like Hollywood shouldn't be involved in this kind of stuff. They should just be about like you always say this, like the art and just focusing on what this is and separate yourself from the politics.
They always
and everything
else.
Have
to get their opinions out there. I mean,
but I worry about that because like if you're gonna go, and I don't mean to throw anybody on the bus, but like I don't know, like Mark Ruffalo was one of the people who was in this. Is Mark Ruffalo, who's going to be an Academy voter? Is he going to be the person who's going to go on there and vote for these two movies? I mean, they're wildly different too, by the way. I mean, like Real Pain is heavy at times, but it's actually kind of comedic. Karen Culkin's like really good in it. And it's like, it's an easy watch. It goes down. You're going to love it because it's 93 minutes. It goes down really quick and it goes through. And it's very grounded. And it's just two characters pretty much for most of the movie. A lot of dialogue, very like kind of before midnight between two brothers sort of thing. But I have been thinking a lot about that, given the fact of like where we are in the world right now, how people are, very controversial about, where you stand. We're not allowed to talk about this.
It's a very fair point. It's a very fair point because it could work positively or negatively. I just, and you know this, you just try to keep your politics out. When I went in to see I Am Racist, I said to myself, I know a lot of people are like, Matt Walsh is the demon. He's the worst person in the history of the planet. And I'm almost talking like Matt Walsh. But here's the thing is that I remember I just go to watch the movie and say, does it work? You leave whatever you think about the person and you watch the film and you say, does it work at what it's trying to do? And is it fair? In this case, a documentary. We'll talk about it in a minute. But I think that's the thing is you just have to try to stay apolitical as much as possible. And then when it's, listen, we're all going to have our politics, but you still want to be objective when we go into these things. So I think as a voter, I would just vote for the best film. I wouldn't care. But that's not how everybody thinks.
Yeah, I mean, that's such an interesting point of view because, when Coda won, against Power of the Dog, right? And you went to that screening with me and you saw the people react to it.
Yep.
When we went together.
Even though that was the kind of, but yeah, you're right. I mean, the people liked it a lot more than me. But
yeah. That was sort of like the reaction of like, when I go to theaters, like people always give me shit for this. Like, it's like, if you go to a lot of award screenings, like you go there to kind of gauge the reaction from the crowd. And the reason why I always knew Power of the Dog wasn't winning Best Picture was because, like, whenever I went to one of those events, I would go to the award voter and be like, hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think? What do you like? What's this? And it never came up in a conversation. Or if it did, they would be like, oh, that movie was too long, or I didn't finish it, or I didn't have any understanding of what was happening by the end of the movie.
Right.
So I kind of knew that was the case, right? Last year, with Oppenheimer, I thought like, I betted against that movie mainly because it didn't really, like, it was always brought up, but I always felt like it was brought up with other movies. So I was like, oh, maybe there was a choice. Like this just it felt so weird that it was the clear front runner, especially after like Everything Everywhere was like the clear front runner the year before, that I was like, there's no way that this, clearly I was wrong. But like, realistically, like it's very weird that we would have two movies back to back. And I think that's the same thing that's happening right now, is that I think a lot of people right now are kind of in this mindset that Anora is going to win Best Picture. I think that's the movie right now.
Don't listen
Don't
listen to film Twitter. Don't listen to film Twitter. You spend too much. I don't even spend as much time on Twitter anymore. I just like post and ghost now. You read too. I don't even listen. I want to make my own decisions. I trust you, sort of. No, I do. And that's it. That's why I don't listen. Like I talked about all these people like Sean Fantasy. Oh my God. Talk about a fraud. All these guys, they're frauds. They're not good. Even if they're not a fraud, they're not talented. And then you get like, why am I listening to you? You're not even good. You don't have the skill set that I need to really evaluate these things. And that's why I don't even listen to anything, because it's so few. That's why people love MMT. The people that do, those of you who do, this tiny slice of the pie, is that that at least it's objective and authentic and fearless, and it's never going to be about an agenda. And I think all these other people have agendas, and I don't want to have an agenda. So if you have an agenda, I'm not interested in you. And I know, Scott, you don't. That's what I think. That's it. Obviously, it's why we're friends, because you don't. You're fair. I don't know what to expect from you, and that's what I think people think about me too. So for whatever that is, that's an important thing to have in your toolbox, I think, nowadays, because a lot of people don't have that. They don't possess it. They have an agenda. They have a mission. They have, whatever the political agenda is. And it's just unfortunate, because I don't want to be like that. I mean, yeah, there's things that piss me off, but I think it's fair. I've gone after it and looked at it objectively. And I think that's the key. So good job, Scott. As always, you're the man, everybody. A round of applause for Scott. And go see Am I Racist? Will you call me tomorrow after you see it?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, awesome. All right, Scott Menzel, everybody. Thanks, Scotty. Good to see you, buddy. The man. All right, there he is. All right, it's time now for the MMT evaluation of Am I Racist? I went to see this tonight because I wanted to. I mean, you guys know how I feel about DEI. I've talked about it, okay? Diversity. Oh, my God. Literally, my brain just completely turned off. DEI is an issue. It'll come to me in a second. But let's just watch the trailer, and then I'll talk about the film. Here we go. Ready and go.
In this country, it's Nazism. Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up in the 90s, I never thought much about race. Sure, you noticed, but never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Being a white, straight, cisgender man, it's the top of the pile.
I'm on the top of the pile. That's me. Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
Can you please leave?
If I'm going to sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover. If I want to be an ally, I need to look like one.
What is racism?
Martin Luther King said not to judge people by
Martin Luther King said a lot of stuff.
Is America inherently racist?
What the hell is that?
The word inherent is challenging there. America is racist to its bones. All of the...
So inherently.
Yeah.
The entire system has to burn. And I'm not going to even use save this country. This country is not worth saving. This country is a piece of shit.
Listen, I laughed at so much of this film. Can we just start with what is really good about this film? Okay. There's issues, but I want to just mention that anytime I'm laughing and going, oh my God, and oh shit, did that person just say that? Right? We talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, right? It's the push to make sure that every institution has essentially, right? You have to have one of everything, or to have, we can't have all white people. Okay. Listen, here's the thing. I've always talked about, why is that an issue? Because it's always about merit. Merit rules everything. So I don't care what your race is. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. I don't care if you're trans. I told you guys this. I think that one of the best films of the year is National Anthem, a film that has tons of trans actors in it. So don't hit me with this shit when I'm about ready to tell you that this film is funny. Because, again, it's fair, the fact that there's grifters. The thing that makes me the angriest in life is grifters. People who say and do things for money that they don't necessarily believe in. Maybe they're making the world a worse place as a result. And I think this film touches on that. By the end, Matt Walsh realizes that he feels like shit. Now, granted, a lot of it's an act. Okay, I get it. But in the film especially. But the reality is that if you are pushing something that you know is willfully causing division, that you know is actively making the world a worse place by saying everybody's inherently racist and this country needs to be burned to the ground and it's worth saving this woman. So full of hate. You talk about what? That's full of hate. Okay. And this film skewers those people and makes fun of the grifters who have attached themselves to the cause of promoting racism to make money. Because, listen, you guys always say I don't go after the anti-woke mob. And of course I do. I go after Gore. Gore has turned into the biggest anti-woke grifter of almost the entire YouTube space. A guy who's not even that guy. He's a guy who grew up with indie film. He was all about that. Now all of a sudden he realizes the money is in telling you that everything Disney makes is woke and here's the funeral for Disney. Okay? I don't do that. I had the funeral for A24 because the movies suck, not because of an agenda. You see the big difference, because I don't play that way. But I do not like grifters, and the DEI space is full of grifters. In fact, the majority of people in this movie, this documentary, mockumentary, if you will, Borat-ish, is they get paid to be in the film. That's how he got them in. He got them in the film by paying them their fee to show up and talk on camera, and he has a disguise in for a lot of it. Some of it he doesn't. They don't know who he is, right? He's a pretty big face now. He's become, I remember I've watched stuff from him from early on in COVID. I told you guys about the COVID thing. He was one of the first people that says, why are we shutting everything down? What's going on? This is crazy. And I give him credit for that. I'm not going to talk about the trans thing tonight. We're not doing that. I want to talk about the DEI, okay? So when he's skewering the people who are making money off of a grift, con artists, essentially, I'm all for that. Oh my God. I mean, I will do a whole stream skewering the anti-woke YouTubers. It's easy. I could grab it. First of all, if I had to show you the Film Threat live stream, I'd fall asleep. Guys, our live stream destroys Film Threat. It's not even a competition. It's a one-punch knockout. The ding bang. What happened to Film Threat? Holy fuck. I think it went through the mat. It's gone. I mean, they're so boring. Gore's like, let me tell you the whole movie. Instead of just coming in and telling you what it works with Am I Racist, they're like, well, let me tell you what it's about. Matt Walsh is a conservative commentator who decides that he doesn't. I can see from the trailer. Show the trailer. You know why Gore doesn't show the trailer? Yeah, let me hammer him before I end the stream. Because that means I can't monetize it. Weber can't make. I don't give a fuck. I do the stream because I like it. Why do you think I play music at the beginning? Instantly, that demonetizes the video. I show you a trailer, demonetized. I don't care. I do the stream because I like it, because it's fun. I'll do that all day. I'll play 1,000 clips. I don't care, because that's not what the point of this is. The point is to get on here and talk about things that I think matter in the film space, and frankly, other things like Planet X. Have a drink, those of you out there. So I'll check in on it in a minute. But here's the thing, quickly before we leave. We always have to do a Planet X check. For those of you watching, like, what the hell is going on here? Welcome to MMT. Here's the thing. DEI is a grift, okay? We're going to hire people of merit, period. End discussion. There's not, I don't need to say, you don't need to say another word. And then being told everyone's racist. Remember, go back to, and I think the film touches on this and does a nice job, is it talks about how back in the 80s and 90s, why did no one talk about that? I was fine. I mean, we didn't view people that, why did this become this big thing? Because it's an industry, right? And also division. That's what they want to do. They want to create division. So that's what's happening. It's an agenda. It's an agenda. I hate agendas. I hate people that are grifters. So obviously this film attacks both of those things. Now you're going to say, Walsh has an agenda. Fair. You know, you can say that. He has an agenda. He doesn't like DEI. Fine. But I also, and I'm admitting this, not a fan at all of DEI, which would make me, oh, by the way, you can't say that in Hollywood. I just did. Don't care. Don't care, because I'm right. I'm 100% right. Not even an argument. There's no argument, because we're always going to hire the best person. Okay? In fact, like, right, and then in the film it talks about being colorblind. Oh, that's not good. That's an aggression. Like, what? No. What? No, I'm not colorblind. We're going to say the film's good because it's good, period. End discussion. Not directed by a woman, man, trans, doesn't matter, doesn't care, because that sounds like Trump. Fuck. Because here's the thing, is that if you go through that mindset like we do with these films objectively, then you're going to say that we're fair, and that's what we are. We do films that we say the films are good, that are good, and the films that are bad, period, and that's it. We don't ever give bonus points for a female director, minority, doesn't matter, white man, doesn't care, who cares, doesn't matter. Film's repetitive, that's an issue. The film, it really doesn't need to be an hour and 40 minutes. It should be shorter, but I understand he wanted to make a film, right, and put it in theaters. So first of all, I want to give a little credit to AMC, Cinemark, to Regal, anyone showing the film, because a lot of people that are, oh, how dare you even show the film? Oh, because we have to have a cancel culture. We can't have other ideas presented because that's racist. Shut up. Shut up. Just, oh, there's so many people in this film you just want to punch. Right? You just want to say, what's wrong with you? You're broken. I say it all the time. You're a broken person. You tell they don't even like believe it. There's a woman at the end they absolutely destroy. They make her, she's this person who wrote a book called, I forget what it is, White Privilege, whatever it is, fucking thing's called. And she's in the room with Matt, who's got a wig on, and he brings in his black PA essentially in the film, and he goes, here's my assistant, and he sits down, and then Walsh starts paying reparations out of his wallet. Okay, he's like, here's 20, that's all I have. And the girl who wrote the book, she got paid like 10,000, 50,000, whatever. It just shows the money that she got paid, 5,000, whatever it was. It was money, because that's the only way she'd show up. Give me money, because they're grifters. So she gets the money, and then she's like, oh, that felt weird. But then he goes, well, really, was it? Why? Because I think that we should individually take steps to pay the reparations. So why should we wait for society? And she's like, okay. And she goes over and gets her wallet and gives the guy money. And it's like, oh my God, these people are bonkers. Right. And it's really just a test for a lot of these people. How far will you go when someone says ridiculous shit to be a virtue signaling knob? Right. I can't stand virtue signals. Oh, God, it's so gross. Virtue signaling is limp dick energy, like major. It's like, oh, you hear someone like, as soon as someone virtue signal, like, oh, God, that's bad. Like, you just look pathetic. Do people not think that anymore? You look sad. Why are you so sad virtue signaling over there? But this film attacks that. Again, I agree with the whole destroy grifters. So of course I'm going to like that. And I laughed because the people look dumb. He makes them look stupid, just like Borat does, right? You've seen it. So overall, it's a recommend, which I know will get me canceled. Whatever is terrible. MMT score 89%. I mean, I laughed a lot. The audience liked it. Granted, they might have been, fans. Even in LA, we have conservative people / fans of whatever you want to call it, alt-right, and they'll go see this film. Even though I think the whole idea doesn't matter what side you're on. The DEI thing is just such a grift. And have I said that enough? And ultimately, I love to see grifters get put away like that. Kendi, oh my God, how do you live with yourself? Of course he does, because he has all the money. He gets paid like $50,000 to come in and give a speech. And it's a bunch of racial hatred. You're a terrible person. I mean, how do you do that? How do you go to bed at night going, "Oh, I'm so happy, I'm making money being a shitbag"? Literally, they are. They're literally scumbags for promoting hatred, right? So they're making money off it, and I want to see those people go down. Do not support people who are grifters. Do not. Okay, I'm not a grifter. Never will be. It's never going to happen. What I do is because I love this stuff, and that's it. The scene's hilarious. I hope you guys see it because. Of course I don't, Mount Film. I don't care because everything I say is true. Everything I say is accurate. And what also I love is we get ready to wrap because I'm really tired. We're at an hour, almost 2 hours. This is the longest streaming ever. Forever. I can't keep doing this shit for 2 hours. I'm now really tired. It's 11:40 here in LA. Damn, who's watching like somewhere where it's like 4 a.m? What's wrong with you? Here's the thing. Is that I just want to create a show that's all about being as truthful, authentic, fearless, and grounded, and all the things that I want to see in someone else. I want to see reflected here, and you do. And I hope you like the show. And even if you don't agree with me all the time, maybe you'll open your eye and go, maybe he's right. Maybe I'll look at it a little bit differently. Let's do it real quickly, guys. Before we go, it's time for a quick Planet X check. I got it. That's a new thing. I haven't even made a graphic for it, but Planet X, let's look and see. Let's go to, you guys ready to go to Alaska? Let's do it quickly before we leave, everybody. Planet X check. So this is the weather cam in Larsen Bay, Alaska. And if you go here during the day, I've not looked today, so this is going to be live. If you go during the day, if it's a clear day there in Alaska, you're going to see what I refer to as Planet X in the sky. Now, you haven't heard this anywhere, and that's fine because I don't expect you to hear it anywhere because it's not the kind of thing that the regular media would talk about. And we're definitely not the normal media, okay? So why do you think Twitter is now X? Think about that for a second. Okay. You don't think Elon knows? Okay, let's go look. Let's just do a quick time. So here we go. This was from, I don't know what time, 1:36. Let's just watch and see if we see anything in the sky. Give it a second. There might not be anything. Remember, this is a live Planet X check here on a Sunday night. Very late here in LA. And I'm looking in the sky. I don't see shit. But okay, let me show you. Let's just pause here. Give me 1 second. Wait, what was that? Is that the sun? Yeah, I guess that's the sun. Hold on. Let's give it a second. It might pop in. Sometimes out of nowhere, it's like there's a frame. Okay, now it's, whoa. No, it's night. That's the moon. That's moonlight. Okay, stop. Now, for those of you like, well, we didn't see anything. Fine. I'll show you what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for, you guys. You ready? So those of you, let's pull it up. Give me a second. Let me hit pause. So this is what we're looking for. This is what has been there. This is here all the time. For those of you who don't know, this is what we're looking for. And again, if you go here during the day, Larsen Bay in Alaska, you will see this object. And I just want you to watch. And I want you to tell me what you see, and then we'll get out of here. Anyone who's watching that's new, I have almost 500 people on the stream. Thanks for being here on the Sunday night really late, wherever you are, even later. Here's what I'm going to tell you, unless you're in Hawaii, is that I just want you to come in quickly before you go and just tell me what that is. That's all I ask. That's all I'm asking. There's the only price. I don't even want a super chat. I don't want any money. It's not monetized. I want you guys to tell me, you guys ready to watch it? This is from 2023, but it's still here. It's not like it's gone. In fact, it's getting closer. You guys ready? Here it comes. Turn the music off. I hate the music. Okay, watch it go. One more time. Let's watch it loop. Watch it move. Okay, it's going right. It's in the sky. It's rotating. It's clearly has markings on it. And if you notice when it rotates, the thing that you're watching, let's just pick something. Pick a frame. When you hit it, it's going forward. So if the line's in the middle, it's going across. Okay, do you see? Like that. Watch, there comes, it's on the top. It's got almost like a V thing on it, right? And it's like you can't really see it, but it's clearly there, right? Guys, quickly, what is that? Come in quickly before we go here. What are we looking at? Oh, damn it. I haven't hit the right thing. My bad, guys. One more time. That's on me. That's on me. One more time, everybody. I got the right stream up, right? I think Twitter's trying to throttle us at this point. Watch one more time. Watch it go across the sky and you tell me what you see. Go, everybody. Go. Watch. What is that? It rotates. It comes around. There's like a gigantic, hold on, let me pause this. Do you guys see there's like a gigantic patch? Look there. Look. That is something on the object. That is something on the object, right? And then watch as it goes around. And then look, there's something on the top, almost like a hand. Do you guys see it? Yes or no? Yes, I'm going to see it, Kate, this week. We can see it Thursday. We'll talk about it. Thursday, Substance. And Tuesday is Saturday night. Last time I go. I want to mention one other thing, and this is going to freak you guys out, but please just listen. It's going to really freak some of you out. What I'm going to tell you is hold on real quickly. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go just show you one more because I think it's another one on the stream. Hold on, where it is. Okay, this is from this year. This is from this year. One more time, watch. This is from like July 22nd. Watch. So here it comes. Look, what I want you to notice real quick on this is, do you see how it's covered? It's got a shadow on it, and then all of a sudden, watch it pop. Ready? Bang, bang. That shit's visible. That shit's visible. I don't know. Wait for it to go one more time. So here it comes around. You've got the gigantic equator line going across the middle, right? Then look. Do you see that? It almost looks like Saturn. Does it not? Like in a way, it looks like a Neptune or a Saturn but look, watch. Look, now you've got major stripes and a line across the middle. Do you see, guys, I'm not making this shit up. This isn't CGI. What the fuck is that? Look, now you can really see some kind of thing coming across the middle. Can I tell you one thing? It's going to freak some of you out, but I'm going to tell you what I think when you see it really sometimes when I saw it the other day. You guys ready for this? You know that line that goes across the middle? You guys ready for what I think it is after I saw it the other day? You guys are going to lose your shit. I think it's a ring. I think it's a ring like Saturn. I really do. And I know, listen, I get it. I know what I'm asking you to say is like crazy. Do you know I'm right? What am I looking at? What am I looking at? The hell is that? Why is there a gigantic planet running around up there? This is multiple days. It's there every day, guys. Anytime. If they take this camera down, guys, it's there. If it's all of a sudden disappears, it's because someone saw this and goes, we can't have it's. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? It's there. It's there. Thank you, Matthew. All right, that's it. All right. I just wanted to finish the show with to show you the full range, right? So MMT, I think there's nobody, and we could talk NFL football if you want. I'm not going to do it, but I could. I don't want to. But we could also talk about football kits tonight, Arsenal. We could talk about whatever you want, action figures. We can talk about 80s and 90s music. We can do a lot here. Okay. The point is, I want to show you the versatility MMT, including Planet X, and just know that our days are limited. So isn't that great? Isn't that a great way to finish this on a Sunday night? Your days are numbered. I mean, if that's a planet, we're definitely numbered. So just enjoy tomorrow. Okay. Just because you never know if the next day's coming. Just enjoy the moment. It's the best advice I can give you. Peace out. Live from LA. I'm done. I'm going to bed. Good night.